Chapter 94 Wishes. Chapter 1 Wishes for Martyrdom. Narrated Abu Huraira. I heard Allah's Messenger saying, by him in whose hands my life is, were it not for some men who dislike to be left behind, and for whom I do not have means of conveyance, I will not stay away from any holy battle. I would love to be martyred in Allah's cause, and come to life and then get martyred, and then come to life and then get martyred, and then get resurrected and then get martyred. Narrated Al-Araj. Abu Huraira said, Allah's Messenger said, by him in whose hand my life is, I would love to fight in Allah's cause, and then get martyred, and then resurrected, come to life, and then get martyred, and then resurrected, come to life, and then get martyred, and then resurrected, come to life, and then get martyred, and then resurrected, come to life. Abu Huraira used to repeat those words 3 times, and I testify to it with Allah's oath. Chapter 2 To Wish for Good. Narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, if I had gold equal to the mountain of Uhud, I would love that, before 3 days had passed, not a single dinar thereof remained with me. If I found somebody to accept it, excluding some amount that I would keep for the payment of my debts. Chapter 3 If I had formerly known what I came to know recently. Narrated Aisha. Allah's Messenger said, if I had formerly known what I came to know recently, I would not have driven the Hadi with me, and would have finished the state of Iram along with the people when they finished it. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullah. We were in the company of Allah's Messenger, and we assumed the state of Iram of Hajj, and arrived at Mecca on the 4th of Dhul Hijjah. The Prophet ordered us to perform the tawaf around the Kaaba and sa'i between As-Safa and Al-Marwa, and use our Iram just for Umrah, and finish the state of Iram unless we had our Hadi with us. None of us had the Hadi with him except the Prophet. And Talha, Ali came from Yemen and brought the Hadi with him. Ali said, I had assumed the state of Iram with the same intention as that with which Allah's Messenger had assumed it. The people said, how can we proceed to Mina and our male organs are dribbling? Allah's Messenger said, if I had formerly known what I came to know latterly, I would not have brought the Hadi, and had there been no Hadi with me, I would have finished my Iram. Suraka bin Malik met the Prophet while he was throwing pebbles at the Jamrat al-Aqaba and asked, O Allah's Messenger, is this permitted for us only? The Prophet replied, no, it is forever. Aisha had arrived at Mecca while she was menstruating. Therefore the Prophet ordered her to perform all the ceremonies of Hajj except the tawaf around the Kaaba, and not to perform her prayers unless and until she became clean. When they encamped at Al-Bata, Aisha said, O Allah's Messenger, you are proceeding after performing both Hajj and Umrah, while I am proceeding with Hajj only. So the Prophet ordered Abdurrahman bin Abu Bakr as-Siddiq to go with her to At-Tanim, and so she performed the Umrah in Dhul Hijjah after the days of the Hajj. Chapter 4. Would that so and so. Narrated Aisha. One night the Prophet was unable to sleep and said, "Would that a righteous man from my companions guarded me tonight." Suddenly we heard the clatter of arms. Whereupon the Prophet said, "Who is it?" It was said, "I am Sa'd, O Allah's Messenger. I have come to guard you." The Prophet then slept so soundly that we heard him snoring. Abu Abdullah said, Aisha said, Bilal said, Would that I but stayed overnight in a valley with Idkir and Jalil, two kinds of grass, around me, in Mecca. Then I told that to the Prophet. Chapter 5. To wish for the Quran and knowledge. Narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Messenger said, not to wish to be the like except of two men, a man whom Allah has given the knowledge of the Quran and he recites it during the hours of night and day, and the one who wishes says, if I were given the same as this man has been given, I would do what he does. And the man whom Allah has given wealth and he spends it in the just and right way, in which case the one who wishes says, if I were given the same as he has been given, I would do what he does. See Hadith 5025 and 5026. Chapter 6. What kind of wishing is disliked? Narrated Anas. If I had not heard a prophet saying, you should not long for death, I would have longed for it. Narrated Qais. We went to pay a visit to Kabab bin al-Art, and he had got himself branded at 7 spots over his body. He said, if Allah's Messenger had not forbidden us to invoke Allah for death, I would have invoked for it. Narrated Sa'd bin Ubaid. The Mawla of Abdur Rahman bin Asar. Allah's Messenger said, none of you should long for death, for if he is a good man, he may increase his good deeds, and if he is an evildoer, he may stop the evil deeds and repent. Chapter 7. Without Allah, we would not have been guided. Narrated Al-Bara bin Asib. The Prophet was carrying earth with us on the day of the Battle of Al-Asab, Confederates, and I saw that the dust was covering the whiteness of his abdomen, and he, the Prophet, was saying, O Allah, without you, we would not have been guided, nor would we have given in charity, nor would we have prayed. So O Allah, please send tranquility, sakina, upon us, as they, the chiefs of the enemy tribes, have rebelled against us. And if they intend affliction, yet want to frighten us and fight against us, then we would not flee but withstand them. And the Prophet used to raise his voice with it. See Hadith number 430 and 432, volume 5. Chapter 8. It is disapproved to long for meeting the enemy. Narrated Abdullah bin Abi Awfa. Allah's Messenger said, do not long for meeting your enemy and ask Allah for safety from all sorts of evil. See Hadith number 266, volume 4. Chapter 9. What uses of al-lev are allowed. Narrated Al-Qasim bin Muhammad. Ibn Abbas mentioned the case of a couple on whom the judgment of Li'an has been passed. Abdullah bin Shaddad said, was that the lady in whose case the prophet said, "If I were to stone a lady to death without a proof against her," Ibn Abbas said, "No, that was concerned with a woman who though being a Muslim used to arouse suspicion by her outright misbehavior." See Hadith number 230, volume 7. Narrated Atta. One night the Prophet delayed the Isha prayer, whereupon Umar went to him and said, "The prayer, O Allah's Messenger, the woman and children had slept." The Prophet came out with water dropping from his head and said, "Were I not afraid that it would be hard for my followers or for the people, I would order them to pray Isha prayer at this time." Various versions of this hadith are given by the narrators with slight differences in expression but not in content. Narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Messenger said, "Were I not afraid that it would be hard on my followers, I would order them to use the siwak as obligatory for cleaning the teeth." Narrated Anas. The Prophet fasted al-Wisal on the last days of the month. Some people did the same, and when the news reached the Prophet, he said, "If the month had been prolonged for me, then I would have fasted Wisal for such a long time that the most exaggerating ones among you would have given up their exaggeration. I am not like you. My Lord always makes me eat and drink." Narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Messenger forbade al-Wisal. The people said to him, "But you fast al-Wisal." He said, "Who among you is like me? When I sleep at night, my Lord makes me eat and drink." But when the people refused to give up al-Wisal, he fasted al-Wisal along with them for 2 days, and then they saw the crescent, whereupon the Prophet said, "If the crescent had not appeared, I would have fasted for a longer period," as if he intended to punish them herewith. Narrated Aisha. I asked the Prophet about the wall outside the Kaaba. "Is it regarded as part of the Kaaba?" He replied, "Yes." I said, "Then why didn't the people include it in the Kaaba?" He said, "Because your people ran short of money." I asked, Then why is its gate so high?" He replied, "Your people did so in order to admit to it whom they would and forbid whom they would. Were your people not still close to the period of ignorance, and were I not afraid that their hearts might deny my action? Then surely I would include a wall in the Kaaba and make its gate touch the ground." Narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Messenger said, "But for the emigration, I would have been one of the Ansar, and if the people took their way in a valley or a mountain pass, I would take the Ansar's valley or the mountain pass." Narrated Abdullah bin Said. The Prophet said, "But for the emigration, I would have been one of the Ansar, and if the people took their way in a valley or a mountain pass, I would take Ansar's valley or their mountain pass."